The Unstable SMP just ended, but not in the way you think. You see, Parrot just posted the craziest video on the Unstable SMP. And I wish I was joking, but this is not a prank whatsoever. So trust me when I say this is the most insane video I've ever watched, I'm not even exaggerating. But before I break down everything that happened in the video, we are so close to 15,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video because this is genuinely unbelievable. But dude, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this video pop out my notifications, I literally almost freaked out. Because I was like, wait, hold on, is this really the final video of the Kings Arc? And not gonna lie, when I saw the title, I became King of the Unstable SMP, I was like, bro, this is it. This is literally the video we've all been waiting for. And honestly, the entire Minecraft community has been talking about this arc for months now. Like literally months. And to finally see it come to an end is absolutely insane. So let me give you guys some context real quick. For those of you guys who haven't been following the Unstable SMP Kings Arc, which honestly, I don't know how you haven't because this has been one of the wildest storylines in Minecraft YouTube history. But basically, Lattis started this faction called the Law. And their whole goal was to like protect the server and serve justice and all that stuff. But dude, the thing is, Lattis became completely power hungry, like absolutely power hungry. And he started doing all these crazy things to become king of the server. And I mean, we are talking about blackmailing players, rigging elections, kidnapping Teal, who is literally Parrot's best friend. But here's where it gets even crazier, and I mean, this is where the video really picks up. So at the beginning of the video, Parrot is literally in prison, right? Like Lattis threw him in prison because he was scared that Parrot was gonna win the election. And not gonna lie, when Parrot was sitting in that prison cell, I genuinely thought the arc was over. I was like, there's no way he's getting out of this, like no way. But then out of nowhere, the lights go out. A secret door opens up behind Parrot. And that's just a shulker box full of gear sitting right there. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, dude, who is helping him? Like, who literally just saved Parrot's life? And honestly, the escape sequence was absolutely insane. Like, Parrot blows up the doors with TNT, he runs out of Law HQ, and then he immediately gets spotted by a lawman. And bro, let me tell you, the fight that happens next is crazy, because Parrot is still wearing his copper armor with cursive binding, which means he literally can't take it off. And this lawman is doing 8 hearts of damage per hit. 8 hearts per hit, dude. That's absolutely ridiculous. But Parrot, being the absolute legend he is, uses a piece of cactus to break all of his armor. And then he's able to put on his diamond armor and completely dominate this lawman. And after the fight, the lawman tells him that Teal is being held at Smuggler's Pass, which leads to one of the most intense rescue missions I've ever seen in a Minecraft video. So Parrot goes to Smuggler's Pass, and there's this massive castle built inside of a mountain. And Teal is literally standing in the middle surrounded by lava. And the way Parrot rescues him is so freaking smart. Like, he uses fire resistance potions, he climbs up a lava flow, uses a punch bowl to launch himself across, and then he clutches with water. But then right as they are about to escape, Lattis shows up and teleports Teal away using a stasis chamber. And dude, this is where Lattis gives Parrot an ultimatum. He's like, you need to endorse me or a lot of people are gonna get hurt. And honestly, this is such a villain move. Like, this is straight out of a movie or something. But wait, it gets even better, because at the Northern Council announcement, Parrot literally does the opposite of what Lattis wanted. Instead of endorsing him, Parrot calls him out in front of the entire server, and tells everyone not to make Lattis their king. And bro, the look on Lattis' face when that happened must have been priceless. Like, he thought he had Parrot completely trapped, and Parrot just completely goes against him anyway. And not gonna lie, that takes some serious guts, because Lattis literally had Teal hostage, and Parrot still refused to endorse him. So then Lattis brings Parrot and Teal back to the mining city, which is like super symbolic because this is where Parrot originally saved Lattis, way back in the beginning of the server. And Lattis is planning to have them executed, right? He tells Deputy Ace and the elite guards to kill them, and he blows the horn signaling them to do it. And dude, when the camera pans up and you hear 2 hits and the wither sound effect plays twice, I genuinely thought Parrot and Teal were dead. I'm not even joking, I was like, there's no way they just killed off the main characters like this. But then the camera pans back down and Parrot is still standing there. And you know why? Because Deputy Ace killed the 2 elite guards instead of Parrot and Teal. And honestly, this is one of the most emotional moments in the entire video because Deputy Ace reveals that he was the one who freed Parrot from prison. Like, Ace was the inside man the entire time, and he did it because Lattis had been ignoring everything he said. and Ace realized that what Lattis was doing was wrong. And before Ace gets killed by Lattis, he says this absolutely legendary line: "I'd rather die standing than live kneeling." Bro, I almost freaking cried when I heard that. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, that line hit so hard, and it really shows how far Lattis had fallen, and how even his own commanders didn't believe in him anymore. So after that, Parrot and Teal escape to District 13, and they start recruiting an army to fight against Lattis and the law. And this is where all the other main characters start coming back into the story. Like, Parrot recruits Spoke, who brings this entire faction including Maypig, Jumper Who, Prince Zam, Minotac, and Jaden Man. And then Flame and Wemmbu show up with the Orbital Strike cannons, which are literally the most overpowered weapons on this server. And not gonna lie, seeing all these players team up against Lattis was so freaking hype. Like, this is the Avengers endgame of Unstable SMP, you know what I'm saying? And then we get to the final battle of the Northern Council, and dude, this fight is absolutely insane. Like, I'm talking about hundreds of players fighting at once, orbital cannons going off left and right, TNT minecarts everywhere, it's complete chaos. And Wemmbu immediately sets off 3 orbital strikes and kills hundreds of lawmen in those first few shots. But then Lattis reveals that he's not stupid, and he brings out hundreds of Netherite lawmen who were hiding the entire time. And the fight just keeps going for like an hour straight, with Parrot running around as a distraction while the better PvPers get the kills. And honestly, the way they added this section with Teal's perspective was really cool, because you get to see how much work Teal was putting in with his TNT minecarts. Like, this dude was blowing up multiple lawmen with 1 minecart each time, and he was absolutely dominating. And after an hour of fighting, it finally comes down to just Lattis and a few remaining lawmen. And they all target Lattis until he only has his chestplate left and he flies away. But here's where it gets really interesting, and I mean genuinely interesting. Lattis comes back and literally surrenders. He walks back to the front of the Northern Council and tells everyone that if they really want to kill him, they can do it, because he doesn't want to live on a server that doesn't want him. And some people like Flame wanted to kill him right there, but Parrot makes them vote on it and it ends in a tie. So Parrot decides to keep Lattis alive and resume the election that Lattis had started. And bro, the final vote count was absolutely wild. Parrot got 5,828 votes, while Lattis only got 3,973 votes. Like, that's almost 2,000 more votes, which shows you how much the server had turned against Lattis. And at the end of the video, Parrot is wearing a crown on his skin and he's standing in the castle ready to address the crowd as the new king of Unstable SMP. So that's basically the entire video in a nutshell, and not gonna lie, this might be one of the best Unstable SMP videos ever made. Like, the story arc was incredible, the battles were insane, the emotional moments hit really hard, and the ending was satisfying but also leaves room for future storylines. And honestly, I'm so curious to see what Parrot does as king now, because we know Spoke is still doing his thing with the gold blocks, and Wemmbu is probably gonna start causing problems again, and Flame is just Flame, you know? But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think the Kings Arc lived up to the hype? What do you think Parrot should do as king? And honestly, where do you think the Unstable SMP is gonna go from here? Because not gonna lie, this feels like the end of a chapter, but definitely not the end of the story. And if you guys enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because we are so close to 15,000 subscribers. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!